Lights go up, the crowd's in a buzz. Hawk talk, start from mighty thud. Voices sharp like a razor blade. Breaking news like a wild cascade. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Host on fire, you can't deny. Hot take sharp with no alibi. Game analysis deep as night. Get ready for an epic ride. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We call the plays before they happen. Feel the rush as the crowd is clapping. Stand tall with your team above. Hawk talk anthem, feel the love. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We're the free. Set you free. We're the voice that sets you free.
All right, all right, all right. Here we go. What a game last night. What a game last night. I said it could be wild yesterday. I said there could be a bunch of points. And by golly, George, there were. It was a very entertaining game. And a very fitting game for the last week of the fantasy football regular season. Gave everybody some points. And then those who had Jahmyr Gibbs were very, very happy. I tell you what, it was awesome. It was awesome. Two teams that needed to win, but basically for their playoff hopes. Two teams that needed to win. But I wanted to answer a question first. Could the Cowboys still win enough games to make it into the playoffs? So next week, Philly plays the Raiders. Let's say they lose to the Chargers, okay? Next week, the Philadelphia Eagles play the Raiders. The Dallas Cowboys play the Vikings. Let's just say Cowboys and Vikings win. Week 16, Philadelphia is at Washington. The question is, which Philadelphia team is going to show up? That's my question. Which team is going to show up? And then that same week in week 16, the Cowboys host the Chargers. Now, because they're home, I'll give the Cowboys a shot to win that. And let's say Philly pulls a Philly game and loses to Washington. Week 17, Philly is at Buffalo. Buffalo wins. Dallas is at Washington. Let's say Washington wins. Week 18, the Cowboys are at the Giants, and then the Eagles host the Washington Commanders. So, in that scenario, Philadelphia would be 10-7. Dallas would be 9-7-1. Now, if Dallas beats Washington, they would be 10-6-1 and would win the division and host a playoff game. In that case, Nick Sirianni is fired immediately, probably right after the Washington Commander game is over. I don't think it's going to take till Monday. But there is still a way for the Cowboys to win, but the Eagles would have to lose 2 more games and the Cowboys would have to win out, basically. So it's not easy. It is rough. But let's get to last night's game and break down some of the stuff we saw. Number 1, the Detroit Lions defense is very weak in the secondary right now. Plenty of injuries. DJ Reed is not a number 1. He's a complimentary number 2. CeeDee Lamb had him roasted all night. And then CeeDee Lamb goes out with a concussion. And to the Cowboys' credit, they kept fighting afterwards. But you kind of felt like, even though Flanoy, Turpin made some really good plays, you really felt like because CeeDee Lamb was out, they just didn't have enough firepower. That's what it came down to. They just didn't have enough firepower. And the Lions did. And I want to give Dan Campbell a lot of credit. The gutsy call to go play action, max protect, deep crossing route to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I am wondering, I really am wondering the injury designation that St. Brown had. I am. Because he didn't look hurt. He didn't really look hurt at all. His speed was full force. Yeah, something tells me the NFL may look into it. Because something just didn't seem right. They pounded the ball with Montgomery. And then Jahmyr Gibbs eventually just broke them. And the Lions get a huge victory, 44-30, over the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. Dak Prescott has 2 interceptions. The Cowboys played tough. Give them credit. They are due that. They scored 30 points and lost. The reality is the Lions are better. I think Dan Campbell will look for an offensive coordinator in the offseason. somebody that matches his intensity and his vision for the offense. I don't know how the playoffs are going to play out. Lions have a tough road. But I don't trust the Packers at all. And I'm slightly hesitant of the Bears. But we'll have to see how it happens, how it all plays out. But there's some other news. So CeeDee Lamb has the concussion. Amon-Ra St. Brown toughed everything out, played. Lamar Jackson has 3 separate injuries right now and is currently slated to play on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know how this game's going to play out. I don't like either team. I bet the under on the points. I think it's going to be ugly. I don't think there's much there. Not going to lie. Really don't. Jalen Carter for the Eagles is out against the Chargers after having a procedure done. He's out. J.J. McCarthy looks like he's going to return for the Minnesota Vikings tilt against the Commanders. And Justin Jefferson said that 2025 has been one of the most difficult seasons he's had. Well, no joke. You haven't had a legitimate quarterback throw you the football. I'm sure it's been rough. And yes, they got to fix it. But as we look at this week now, going to do Hawks locks here today. Switch over to this. There we go. We're going to open up with Hawks locks, and then we'll go to the pick six. So the number one in Hawks locks is going to be the Buccaneers over the Saints. The Bucs are favored by 8.5. And honestly, I love what the Saints have done, but I think Bucky Irving being back for the Buccaneers is the big deal. I believe that's what matters. Alvin Kamara has 471 rushing yards, and currently he's the leader between the two teams. That's a problem. That's not how the Bucs have won in the past. It's been running the ball, and Bucky Irving last week created a spark. I fully believe if Irving was out last week, the Cardinals beat the Buccaneers. Bucky Irving is fresh. He's ready to go, and he is ready to really crush it in the playoffs. I'm going to take the Bucs to win by 10, so I'll take over 8.5. Give me the Buccaneers with that line. Now, a game that I don't really understand. And the reason I don't understand it is because of what just happened last week. The Rams are favored by 8.5 on the road against the Cardinals. Now, I fully believe the Rams will win. But Jacoby Brissett has kept this team in a lot of football games. The Rams are coming off an embarrassing loss to the Panthers. They're not going back home. They're still on the road. The pressure is mounting. If they go pass happy, it could be bad for Matt Stafford again. I just don't think 8.5 is going to be it. I could see it being 31-23, but that still gets me the under 8.5. I just think the Cardinals are good enough at home. Jacoby Brissett has been efficient enough. Give me the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals plus 8.5. Rams win, but Cardinals keep it close. Then the third one. This one I really don't understand. The Bears are the number one team in the league, and Vegas is like, we're not sure yet. They're the number one team in the NFC right now. In Lambeau Field against a team that has sucked a lot of games. Downright sucked. Don't have a running game. It's all on Jordan Love. Without Tucker Kraft, the offense doesn't look great unless you're playing a lapless secondary like Detroit. Which, by the way, Chicago doesn't have. So a 6.5-point spread is way too much. And there's a big part of me that thinks the Bears are just going to pull the upset. It's going to be 18 degrees. Jordan Love does not play well in cold weather either, guys. Just want to point that out. He's not a big game performer in cold weather either. So we're going to see what he can do. But the Bears have a defense and the Bears have a run game. Both of those travel well. You get Jordan Love uncomfortable early, the game's over. He gets rattled, he can never recover. I don't see the Bears losing by 6.5. This may be a field goal game. Either way, a field goal game. 6.5 is just too much. I did think about doing the Steelers plus 5.5 to the Ravens. Not going to lie. Because I thought about just picking the Bears outright in my pick 6 and really throwing everybody for a loop. But there's just something. That Bears matchup, Ben Johnson knows what Matt LaFleur does. Ben Johnson knows what the defensive coordinator does. I feel like the Bears are ready to compete. I think they're ready to compete on that level. I really do. Just really feel like they're ready to compete. All right. Move on from Hawks Locks to here we go. Hawks pick 6. So, this week, after going 6-0 last week, felt pretty gosh darn good. I got some big decisions to make. You guys know I love underdogs. And there's a lot of them that I could pick this week according to the numbers. Let's just be clear. So here we go. Here we go. The number one game I am picking this week, I am going with an upset of the New York Jets over the Miami Dolphins at home. I do not believe Tua Tagovailoa can throw the football in 40-degree weather. I believe the Jets with Aaron Glenn are going to build off of their first win. And I believe it is very possible for this game to get lopsided in the Jets' favor because I believe Tyrod Taylor, Adonai Mitchell, John Mechie, I really feel like there's something they're all trying to prove right now. And that's a good thing. And I think Breece Hall can run on the Dolphins' defense. So between the screen passes, the out passes, Tyrod Taylor being able to run with his legs, I just think the Jets can win another one. So I'm going Jets. They're 2.5-point underdogs. I'm taking them for the W. I'm also picking the Chargers. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I really can't tell you why I'm picking the Chargers. I think it's because I trust Harbaugh more than Sirianni. Can't really deny any of that part. I really think that's what it is. If Justin Herbert can't use his left hand, I trust Jim Harbaugh to figure out how to make it work. Omarion Hampton is back for the Chargers. I think that's a big help. Jalen Carter being out for the Eagles defensively, I believe, is a big deal. Jesse Minter, I think, is going to be ready. I think the Chargers, even though they're underdogs, I think they win. I really think they win. All right, next game. Underdog again. Here we go. I am taking the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football over the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, Houston is a dome team. Fully agree. Yes, it's going to be 27 degrees. Understand that. But yes, Kansas City is probably going to be without both of their tackles against Will Anderson and Hunter. And what we have seen is that Mahomes is human. And this Texan defense seems to be on a mission to prove they are number one and leave no doubt. The Texans defense. Do I think there's going to be some 15-yard penalties for roughing the passer? Yeah, I think Mahomes is going to get one or two of those. But the defense for the Chiefs is what actually bothers me. They haven't been consistent. They can't get off the field. Once again, if I'm the Texans, I am going jumbo sets. I am running Woody Marks, and I am running Nick Chubb, and I am attacking this Chiefs defense. That's exactly what I'm doing. Full on. Full on. Go after them. I don't know how this game's going to turn out. The Texans have lost the last two times they've been in Arrowhead. But if you remember, the Zebras, we all said the Zebras won one of the games for the Chiefs. Because on multiple third down plays, they got penalties that you didn't understand. Texans know they can put the Chiefs behind the eight ball with a victory this week. They moved to 8-6. They can fully be in that fight for the division. I like the Texans. I really do. I like the Texans. And it's going to probably be a field goal by Fairburn. But I think DeMeco Ryans' crew is actually tough. And they will be ready for Kansas City. They will be ready. All right, the next game. It's going to be raining. Potentially. In Jacksonville. That bodes well for the Jaguars, not for the Colts. It bodes very well for the Jaguars. Jaguars are home. They've got the bigger defense. They could stuff Jonathan Taylor. And unless Buckner comes back, which I have not heard that is a possibility yet. Let's see. Boom, boom. No. Buckner is not slated to come back till next week. Sauce Gardner is out. Everybody for the Jaguars is questionable. We got two of them in concussion protocol, Macari and Little. We'll have to see how those offensive linemen play out. Trevon Walker is also questionable with the knee. My guess is he plays. But they have Brian Thomas. They have Jacoby Myers. And my full guess is I think the Jags get it. It's a division game. They need the division game. I think Jacksonville at home gets them. In the rain, I trust Jacksonville more than Indianapolis. In the rain, I trust Jacksonville more than Indianapolis. All right, I better pick a favorite because currently I've got 4 underdogs. And normally that doesn't bode well. I need to pick a favorite. The problem is, kind of made my living last week picking the underdog. All right, let's, just because I want to pretend to play nice, let's pick the Vikings at home against the Commanders. Maybe J.J. McCarthy finally gets the ball to Justin Jefferson. Maybe they can run it on the Commanders' defense. I don't know. I hate picking this game. I wanted to pick Mariota and the Commanders. But that would be a 5th straight underdog. I know most of you are thinking, well, yeah, pick the Chiefs, then you'd be fine. You may end up being right. But, yeah, we're going Vikings. We're going Vikings by a field goal. Vikings by a field goal in overtime. There we go. Vikings by a field goal in overtime. And the last pick. Here we go. As much as I want them to win to cause absolute chaos in the AFC North, I do think the Bills end up being the Bengals. Vegas thinks there's really not going to be much of a competition as the Bills are favored by 5.5. I don't like that line at all. I'll be honest with you, I really don't. But I kind of understand it. They are feeling that Buffalo's offense is just too high-powered for the Bengals to be able to beat. And they're not wrong. They are not wrong. They're not wrong at all. So, this week, we're going with 4 underdogs and 2 favorites. 4 underdogs and 2 favorites. So for Hawks Pick 6, here in Week 14, we're doing the Jets over the Dolphins at plus 2.5, the Chargers over the Eagles at plus 2.5, the Texans to knock off the Chiefs at plus 3.5, the Jags to upset the Colts. It's a pick'em game. It's a 1.5, but Jags are home and underdogs. That's big. I got the Vikings beating the Commanders, 1.5. And then I got the Bills beating the Bengals at 5.5 points. So there are my pick 6 picks for Week 14 in the NFL season. Okay, now let's move to college. Because we're picking every single, let me go to this. Hold on. I want to pick all of them. Yes, I said all of them. We've got all the conference championship games this weekend. I want to pick them all. This is the big weekend, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to pick who the conference champions are going to be. Okay, tonight, ESPN, Troy versus James Madison for the Sun Belt Championship. This is on ESPN. Number 25, James Madison, is 11-1 this year. They are hiring Billy Napier to be their next head coach. I don't have a problem with that hire at all. At all. So I'm going JMU, Big W, to become the Sun Belt champ. That's what I'm going with. All right. For the Conference USA Championship, the newcomer, Kennesaw State, against Jacksonville State. I think Jacksonville State can run on Kennesaw State, and I think they can shorten the game. Kennesaw State's 9-3. Jacksonville is 8-4. I'm going with, you know what? I'm going to go Jacksonville State. They're underdog by 2.5 right now. I'm going to go with Jacksonville State. I'm going with the Gamecocks from Jacksonville State. All right, the American Championship, which has right now, that game has playoff spot on the line. North Texas is favored by 2.5 over Tulane. North Texas is 11-1. Tulane is 10-2. Here's the thing. I think North Texas has been tested a little bit more. I believe their team is ready to perform at a higher level. And I believe the opportunity to be in the college football playoff, I think North Texas wins. Honestly, what it comes down to is I don't think Tulane can stop North Texas. Did you know? You probably didn't. Caleb Hawkins, the running back for North Texas, averages 6.3 yards per carry. He has 23 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, you heard what I said. 23 rushing touchdowns. 6.3 yard average. He is a freshman. I know he is getting poached. 6'2", 200 pounds. The guy is built. He is exactly what you want a running back in this day and age to be. I love this kid. He also has 12 yards per catch through the air and 3 touchdowns. Receiving. I'm sorry. I just think North Texas has got too much. I think North Texas beats Tulane. All right. Mountain West Conference. This one is really simple. I had this pick at the beginning of the year. I can't bail on it now, even though I think UNLV will probably win. I got to pick Boise because I picked them at the beginning of the year. You've got to have enough integrity, even if you think you're wrong, to stick with your pick. Back up your picks. That's why whatever picks I put down, money goes down behind them. That's what I do. Don't just talk it, you got to walk it. All right, let's get to Saturday. Saturday, we open up with the Big 12 championship game, BYU against Texas Tech. What, especially with their coach now, Solani Vataki is staying at BYU. especially with that now. Texas Tech is favored by 12.5. Listen, I am locking in BYU closer than 12.5 no matter what. Texas Tech did beat BYU already. Second time around, neutral field. How's this one going to play out? That's the question. Now, the person inside of me is screaming to pick BYU because then that causes just hecticness in the college football playoff. So, but do I think Tech can do it again? That's the question. Do I think Texas Tech can do what they did to BYU all over again? I don't. But I think Tech is the better team. I think Tech is the better team. So I'm going to give Texas Tech the W, and they will be the Big 12 champ, headed to the college football playoff, probably moving up to 3. No matter what, they'll move up to 3 or 2, depending on who and what loses between the top 3 teams in front of them. One of them being Georgia. Georgia plays Alabama. Georgia the number 3, Alabama the number 9. That will flip-ish, probably, maybe, I don't know, if Georgia loses. But I don't think Georgia loses this time. I don't. I think Kirby Smart is going to be ready for this. I don't think Ty Simpson is going to play a flawless game, which is what you need to play for Alabama to win. Whenever he's flawed, they struggle badly. I trust Georgia a little bit more. I just don't think the whole team of Alabama is ready for this moment yet. And that's as simple as I can put it. I just don't think they're ready for this moment yet. So I'm going Georgia, Alabama. And then we got IU and Ohio State. Ohio State is only favored by 4 points. That by itself makes me absolutely thrilled. That by itself makes me proud because Vegas sees what I see. Vegas sees a team in Ohio State that may have a great defense. Julian Sayin has 30 touchdown passes. Against who? Yes. I went there. They beat Texas at home 14-7. They beat Washington on the road 24-6. They beat Illinois 34-16. They beat Michigan 27-9. Where against, at the time, the ranked teams, where was everything? Julian Sayin only threw for 166 yards against Illinois. He threw for 208 against Washington. 208. He only threw for 233 last week against Michigan. Remember opening week? Week 1? He threw for 126. Now you're probably thinking, well, hold it. That's a little unfair. What about the other side? Okay. You're right. You are right. You're right. Against Illinois, 267 passing yards, 5 touchdowns for Mendoza. Against Iowa, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against Oregon, 215 yards, touchdown. Against Penn State, 218 yards, that magnificent final drive, touchdown. So I kind of like IU's quarterback better. IU trusts their quarterback a little bit more, and you cannot penalize Mendoza for the fact that IU runs the ball better than Ohio State does. I think IU can win this game. Yes, I am slightly being a homer, but trying to be as objective as I can with it. I believe IU can beat Ohio State. If there was a year to beat Ohio State, it's when they've got that rookie quarterback now actually playing a big game. Yeah, you played the big game against Michigan, but even I thought Michigan didn't have the players to beat you. It just didn't. If they did, Michigan would have beaten USC. Michigan played an easy schedule too, don't worry. And the way that it all plays out, it's in a dome, but that means everybody's fast. And I want to watch Jeremiah Smith take on D'Angelo Pons this year. I want to watch the defensive line for the Hoosiers go at the offensive line for the Buckeyes. I want to watch the offensive line of the Hoosiers go at the defensive line of the Buckeyes. Yes, I am petrified of Caleb Downs. I think he's outstanding. I think Arvell Reese is outstanding. The reality is, as a team, in all facets, I trust IU more. So I'm picking IU. None of you should be shocked, but I'm picking IU. All right. The ACC championship game, Duke and Virginia. Duke and Virginia. Oh, hang on. We got to do, I missed one. Western Michigan and Miami of Ohio. The Broncos versus the Redhawks for the MAC championship. I believe the quarterback for Western Michigan, Brock Lowry, is going to be the reason that Western Michigan wins this football game. He is the leading rusher for Western Michigan, very savvy, can shorten the game. It's at Ford Field. It's always a blast to watch this game. I always flip over to it. Saturday will be the same thing. BYU and Texas Tech will be on one half of the screen, and Miami, Ohio, and Western Michigan will be on the other. But I am picking Western Michigan to win the MAC. All right, now we get to the final game. So IU Ohio State start at 8 on Fox, and then on ABC, Duke and Virginia. Now, this is a very typical Hawk situation. This is where Hawk, you would think, normally is going to go underdog just because it's going to drive everybody crazy. Here's the thing. In the models that I have been pushing, where everything is a access-based system, where there are very clear ways, paths, the rights to playoff spots, games like this will still happen. And what's the rule, even in the NFL? What's the rule? Win your division. We have had under 500 teams win their division. We have had 500 teams win their division. So stop complaining in college football when they win conference games, lose non-conference games, and then you're like, but why should they get in? Because they played their conference. That's why. Because the games they need to win, they won to get that right to play for an ACC championship game. Now, do I think Duke has any prayer if they make it in as the 11th or 12th seed to be able to be a threat. No. No, I do not. But just because I want to hear, yes, I am being facetious, just because I want to hear all the complaints after Miami gets left out of the playoff and Notre Dame gets left out of the playoff potentially, I just want to hear all the complaints about Duke being in. Duke is going to be a massive underdog. But you know what? You made the playoffs. Isn't that the job? 8-5, you make the playoffs. Listen, the reality is you can't count anybody out in the playoffs. Who they play will end up being the big difference. So as of right now, they would play Ole Miss. Probably. They would probably play Ole Miss. I'd give them a chance in that game. Don't call me crazy. I would give them a chance in that game. Why? Because Ole Miss doesn't have their head coach. They have Charlie Weis, the offensive coordinator. Lane Kiffin was gracious enough to let Weis coach through the playoffs. But all this could get really jumbled up. Let's say for a second. So let's hang on a second. What would cause the most pandemonium? What would cause the most pandemonium? You know what? You know what? I think I know. This is what it would be. If BYU beats Texas Tech, Duke beats Virginia, where would you put them? Texas Tech is going to drop. I'll do you one better. If Georgia loses to Alabama, does Alabama just automatically leapfrog everybody else? Oh my goodness. That's how you create pandemonium. If Alabama wins, BYU wins, and Duke wins, it throws the entire college football playoff bracket into a tizzy. An absolute tizzy. Notre Dame would be out for sure. Who else would be? That would be, so North Texas would get in at that number 5. BYU would knock out Notre Dame. Duke would come in. So Notre Dame would be knocked out. Alabama would be wherever they're going to rank them. Man, that would be awesome. Okay, so I've got my picks. Okay, I've got my picks. I know who I'm picking. But it would be great. I mean, great. If Duke beats Virginia, BYU beats Texas Tech, and Alabama beats Georgia. It knocks Notre Dame out of the playoff. Period. If BYU wins, Notre Dame's out. Done. Spike, gone. And where do you rank the rest of them? Boy, the committee would have that would be hilarious. That entire bracket would jumble up so much. I dare say, if Georgia and Texas Tech both lose, and Indiana loses close to Ohio State, Ohio State will still probably be 1-2. If Ohio State loses to Indiana, I still think they're going to be 1-2, unless Georgia wins. Man, that'd be awesome. Now listen, I think Duke could play with Ole Miss. If they won and they end up playing Ole Miss, I think they could do it. But I don't. Man, I hope pandemonium happens. That would be so much fun. I'd come on here Monday morning going, this is why. No, screw it. It wouldn't even be Monday morning. Saturday night, I'd have a short out immediately. Like, I cannot wait to see how the committee ranks this. I will care about the IU Ohio State outcome. But at that point, I may be past whatever happiness or sadness I have, depending on the result, just because the bracket will be completely busted up. You're taking a hammer to this glass bracket and going bam, bam, bam. It will all be cracked. And they will have to rearrange all the pieces and put super glue in between the cracks and try to make it look good, because there is no way to make it look good when you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. You only have 5 of the current 10 teams that are guaranteed in playing this week. Notre Dame doesn't play, A&M doesn't play, Ole Miss doesn't play, Oklahoma doesn't play, Oregon doesn't play. So 5 of the 10 that are currently in don't even play football. But if 3 of those, no, it'd actually be 4. It'd be 4. If Alabama beats Georgia, BYU's not even in the top 10 yet. So if they beat Texas Tech, that's an outside. It would be 4 of those 5 that play lose. What do you do with the other 5? Oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting. Man, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I'd have so much fun. Monday morning, I'll have thoughts if that happens. Saturday night, I'll have thoughts. Sunday night, I'll have thoughts. I will be dwelling on that if that's what happens. Good gosh, we can hope for pandemonium. It makes for a really entertaining week. Because then, here's the thing. What it does is it creates pandemonium in the bracket, but the controversy will all be gone. Think about that. Notre Dame gets knocked out because BYU won the Big 12. They get that slot. The only thing that's going to be there is Notre Dame and Miami complaining about the ACC championship game. Notre Dame complaining about the fact that they looked so good. They had 2 losses. Well, deal with it, guys. Deal with it. You weren't good enough. You didn't beat A&M and you didn't beat Miami, and you beat up on all the rest of the scrubs. Oh, well. Not our problem. Man. The 3 Big Ten teams could all be ranked in the top 4. If Texas Tech loses, Oregon could go to 4. Wow, this is awesome. Man, I hope it happens. Boy, I hope it happens. All right, let's go to some NBA news. NBA news from last night. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Golden State Warriors on an amazing block. Yes, amazing block by Tyrese Maxey, giving the Sixers the win 99-98 over the Golden State Warriors. The Boston Celtics absolutely took the Washington Wizards behind the woodshed, 146-101. Wasn't even really close. The Utah Jazz beat the Brooklyn Nets 123-110. The Los Angeles Lakers beat the Toronto Raptors 123-120. And the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Pelicans again 125-116. In the National Hockey League, we had a full night. Boston beat the Blues 5-2. Rangers beat the Senators 4-2. Penguins knocked off the Lightning 4-3. The Panthers lost again 2-1 in overtime to the Nashville Predators. The New York Islanders finally somebody beat the Avalanche finally. It was the New York Islanders. 6-3, pretty handily too. The Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Carolina Hurricanes 5-1. Columbus Blue Jackets won in a shootout 6-5 over the Detroit Red Wings. The Calgary Flames won 4-1 over the Minnesota Wild. Edmonton Oilers scored 9 goals, 9, to beat the Seattle Kraken 9-4. And the Chicago Blackhawks last night beat the Los Angeles Kings 2-1. In Major League Baseball, Ron Washington has signed on with the Giants as an infield coach. Good for him. Hopefully it's easier on him. I don't know if he's ever going to manage again, but he is a very good manager. Then, the Boston Red Sox made a trade with the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Boston Red Sox are getting Johan Oviedo from the Pittsburgh Pirates in a 5-player deal. It includes one of the top prospects. I'm not even going to try to say his name. His last name's Garcia. We're just going to leave it at that. They also received a right-hander, Jesus Travieso, and they gave the Boston Red Sox Tyler Samaniego and Ondinas Guzman to the Boston Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox have gained 2 starters over the offseason. Sonny Gray and now Johan Oviedo. So, Red Sox are trying to make a move here. That is very clear. The Red Sox are trying to make a move. And listen, hopefully it works. Because last year, how close it was, how competitive it was amazing. We loved it. Exactly what we want to see. All right, guys. It's Friday. It is Friday. Make it the best Friday that you can. Make it the best weekend you can. We got conference championship games tonight. Listen, let's go over my picks one more time. So for Hawks Locks this week, I got the Bucks beating the Saints by more than 8.5. Then I got the Cardinals keeping it closer against the Rams than 8.5. And the Bears keeping it closer than 6.5 against the Packers. That's my spread picks for Hawks Locks. Bucks, Cards, and Bears. The pick 6 for this week in the NFL, I got the Jets over the Dolphins, Chargers over the Eagles on Monday Night Football, Texans over the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, Jags over the Colts, Vikings over the Commanders, and Bills over the Bengals. And then every champion in the college football conference championship weekend. I got JMU winning the Sun Belt Conference tonight, Jacksonville State winning Conference USA, North Texas to knock off Tulane and become the American Conference champion, Boise State, because I picked them at the beginning of the year, I got to stick with them. So Boise State to win the Mountain West Championship, Texas Tech to win the Big 12, Georgia to win the SEC, IU to knock off Ohio State in the Big 10 championship game, Duke to win the ACC, and then Western Michigan to be the Mid-American Conference champion. And those are my picks for Week 14 and Conference Championship weekend in football. All right, good week. Good week. I got to finish it strong tonight. I still got to go to work tonight. My Friday doesn't technically start till tomorrow. but you guys make it the best Friday you can. Thanks for hanging out with me. As always, I deeply appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the podcast with a friend. I will see you Monday morning. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the big games, the big matchups. I'm sure I'm going to have a short on Saturday, probably Sunday too. But I will see you guys Monday morning, 9 o'clock Eastern time, here on Sports Talk with Hawk. Until then, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great weekend.